Next question, Jerry. What's your view on outsourcing various town services, specifically the police department and the library?
Outsourcing the library?
Yeah.
Well, I think the town doesn't pay for the library. The library has its own tax base, and so I don't think that I have a real opinion about outsourcing the library.
Trick question.
Maybe if I thought about it some more, I might think about electronic libraries in the future. Might make other libraries. Anyway, outsourcing is one avenue, and one of the first areas I've suggested we look at is the park maintenance side of things. And the reason for that, I was talking with a councilman in San Carlos, where they recently outsourced their park maintenance, and they went from $900,000 a year to $300,000 a year by doing the outsourcing. And he said, Jerry, he said it took a crisis for us to really face up to the fact that we could do this more efficiently, and so we ought to take a look at the options. And I think that when it comes to something like the police department, that is something we ought to look at very, very carefully. I think there are a lot of potential options if you say, okay, let's outsource some of the things, dispatch, investigation, other things perhaps could be done in conjunction with another agency like the sheriff's office. And so I think that we'll probably be looking at all these options. But again, we should have maximum community engagement on these issues.
Thank you, Jerry. Bill, same question. You can leave off the library.
Okay, thanks, because I was going to mention that. Regarding outsourcing, I'm very experienced in doing outsourcing. I've been structuring and negotiating outsourcing contracts for over 20 years.
Excuse me, Bill, can you move the mic a little bit closer to you?
Sure, no problem. Okay, is it even on? Okay, fine. You're going to start the clock again? Okay. So I've seen good deals and I've seen bad deals, and quite frankly, you get what you pay for. Our services are manpower dependent, and so it's directly related. If we cut the costs, we're cutting the heads, and that impacts the service. So if you're going to look at outsourcing, you need to benchmark yourself and determine what type of services you're getting, and then compare yourself to other organizations, other communities. We can compare ourselves, for example, to Menlo Park, for example. So once we document that and we see there's a discrepancy, then we go ahead and we can determine, do we want to dial up or dial down the services, or do we need to do something more drastically? Do we need to look at departments in total, or should we look at it as piece part, as Jerry mentioned, dispatch or investigative services, etc.? If it's something like a full department, such as the police department, since that was the specific question, as a member of the S&T committee, where we decided that we wanted to pay a parcel tax to keep the police here and to pay for the police services that we enjoy and not have any degradation in those, then I think that we need to pull together what the cost benefit is and put that out to the community. The community said 80% wanted to continue this and pay for the police department. So what we need to do is we need to then put that out for a public referendum and not have the council just make the decision by themselves. But we need to make sure that if we're going down the route that we have apples to apples comparison, service levels and costs. You just can't look at San Carlos is paying $200 per capita and we're paying $600 per capita. You've got to build a good benchmark and then look at that information comparatively. And again, if in fact the voters decide they want to do that, I bring my expertise to bear and make sure that we get what we want. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I
Bill.
will stop.
Jim, same question.
Well, despite what the newspapers may report, the council members are not totally dumb. So I would just want to tell you that we know what the problems are. We've been looking at these problems certainly since the beginning of the year. We know we've already cut a lot of expenses, and we're working on virtually all of the things that people have talked about today. Now, we haven't got the problems resolved yet, and part of it is because, as everybody else has seen, when you're dealing with the Teamsters Union, for instance, in the police, you have to be very careful how you handle things. Outsourcing the police, for instance, is one of the things everybody talks about. But as I mentioned before, you know, you have to look at what services our residents require. We have what is called community policing here, which is quite different from policing large areas. We have police officers that in many cases act almost as social people who help residents. I was with one the other day, and so we have a different kind of policing here. And we have to decide as residents if we want to cut the services. On a head-for-head basis, the Sheriff's Department is more expensive than us. So if you decide that we want to go to the Sheriff's Department, you're going to see a different kind of policing. And I think it's up to the residents to see if that's what they want or not. Meanwhile, we're going to do whatever we can to make sure that we cut all of the expenses with the minimum impact on residents.
Thank you. Kerry, same question.
Thank you. Well, outsourcing is not something that is unfamiliar to me. I came from a community that I was responsible for outsourcing and talking and negotiating those agreements, not with a business, but with a community. Your position, I was negotiating. It's a pretty tough time when I had no choice of what my sources were. I couldn't outsource to a city because I was in an unincorporated zone. So I was dealing with the services that we would be dealing with here in Atherton. I would be dealing with the Sheriff's Department. So Sheriff's Department services are unique, but we as a community have to analyze each different mode of operation related to the Sheriff's Department and how it compares to the Atherton Police Department. The Atherton Police Department is a model police community service community. We are way ahead of our time. We still have room for improvement, mind you. But if we have to consider outsourcing, it's one direction. I sat down a few weeks ago with the police chief of Half Moon Bay before he went off to the marshal's office, and they're now the next in line for outsourcing. And they're now pulling back their contract or working on their fire contract that they outsource because they don't like the services. So outsourcing is a big move. It's a move that you, the people, should be making with us getting you that information. It's imperative, it's important, and it's your decision, not our decision.
Thank you.